Hello, my name is Laine Martin. I'm a TikTok micro-influencer. Today I'm going to be answering all of your college questions. I'm a freshman at Auburn University, and by no means do I know it all, but I got lots of questions after I posted my recent video on colleges, how to get in, and why I chose Auburn. I got so many other college questions. A Q&A on Instagram, so now I'm going to be going through and answering all of your top random freshman college questions. The top question that I got over and over again is how to find a roommate, and this is a pretty loaded question because there are so many ways to find a roommate. First, I'm going to start off with my story time on how I found my roommate. So my roommate's name is Hayden. I absolutely love Hayden. She's actually from Auburn, and we met at a dinner that this girl set up. She was from Auburn, so she knew some Auburn people, and then she also knew some Montgomery people, and then I was invited by another Montgomery person, which is where I'm from, and we all had this big dinner, and that's where we officially met. And then we ended up Snapchatting and talking after because we both didn't have roommates. And then she came to Montgomery a couple times, and we had dinner a couple times, and then I went to go and stay with her, and I had dinner with her a couple times. But before I even met Hayden, I'd gone on like 3 or 4 dates, literally dating. I went on a couple dates with a bunch of girls that were set up by mutual friends, which is like a great way to meet your roommate. But I do know that's like a privilege if you know someone who's also going to your school, which I know doesn't happen in all cases. So there's a bunch of other ways, but I met my roommate through people. A lot of my friends would GH with her, and that's how we also knew each other. So it just worked out great. Absolutely love her. So many other ways to find roommates though. Auburn, I know, had like a ZME account, which is like this app where you like take this quiz, and then they like pair you up with people, and you say if you're interested in like Greek life and like stuff like that. I know through like Instagram accounts, I know me and a couple girls started like this Auburn class of 2025 Auburn Instagram account. I'm like pretty sure it's still up. You could probably still find it. And we made like Instagram stories because like, I'm sorry, but those accounts were you're like posting, like no one actually takes the time and looks through every single post. So we made like stories, and so they weren't as annoying. Like you didn't have to look through them all, but then you could go back and still like archive them. And we archived them through big cities in the state that our school is in, big cities like around the states, because obviously like Atlanta's a big pool, and like some big cities like that. And then we had states, out of states. So then like if you're an out of state girl and also wanted to room with another like out of state girl, you would already have some stuff in common, but you didn't already know her, and they were also going to Auburn, you could find them that way. And a lot of people met through the Instagram account, and that was really awesome. And I loved that I got to help with that. So those would definitely be my top 3 things. Instagram is a great tool. Use it to your advantage. Mutual friends, if you have any mutual friends that know anybody else that is also going to Auburn. You can also do hometown friends. That was something that I know I did not want to do. I just wanted to expand my circle, and I would totally recommend it if you have the chance. I know it's more of a toss-up, and everyone says don't room with your best friend. Opens you up. I'm now friends with all of Hayden's best friends, and she's best friends with all of my friends, and it just makes your circle so much bigger as you're entering such a big atmosphere. It makes it so much easier to transition. I would highly recommend. Also, one thing that like me and Hayden didn't do, and it just worked out so perfectly, but like make a list of your daily habits. And that was something I didn't really think about until I filled out like the ZME thing. But it's like what you're interested in. If you're gonna do Greek life, if you're really interested in that, like that's a big thing. Greek life, what time you wake up in the morning, what time you go to bed at night, like if you're clean, if you're messy, just like basic things like that are always like super helpful. But like I definitely wouldn't say it's a make or break. So I'm gonna be doing a whole rush series later, but I got a lot of questions about if you should rush. And honestly, if you're going to a big SEC school, I would totally recommend it. It's a great way to just meet people. I met so many girls just through the process, not even through my sorority, that I met that went other sororities, and I still keep up with them, and they are so sweet. I met so many girls in my Pi Chi group, which if you don't know what a Pi Chi is, I did get a question on that on another video, but it's like a leader. You're not supposed to talk to like any older girls when you're going through this process. So it's really you can only talk to girls that you're like meeting. It's not a good idea to just like be going around and telling everyone like your information, what you want, because you don't want to affect what they're thinking either. So you have this Pi Chi who has unaffiliated from your sorority so that they can help you through the rush process, and they're so helpful. But you have like a group of like, I had like 10 girls in my group, and you all have the same pai kai. And so it's like great to meet those girls, and like it's just so sweet. And through the rest process, you can figure out if you like it or not. Like, it's always a great idea to like start it, and like if you're going through it and you're like, this is just not for me, you can leave, and you've already met so many people. So like it's great either way, and you can always drop out if you don't like it, but I would totally recommend it if you're even in the slightest bit interested. I got this question and it literally made me laugh out loud. Once you get into college, is it downhill from there? And I thought this was so funny because I remember applying to all these colleges and being like, oh my gosh, like this is so much work. Like, when is this going to be over? And I would say yes and no. It depends on what school you're going to. I had a friend that goes to Wake Forest now, and when she got in, like housing and all that stuff wasn't until like May. But for us, like getting into Auburn, so I got into Auburn in like September, October. And then we had to submit housing by like December, and then you had to have a roommate by like that December area. So then it was like you were kind of running around like a crazy person, like trying to find a roommate. It wasn't necessary, but it was kind of nice to know, like you started to like, March was like the deadline. So I think March like 15th. They always do things on the 15th for some reason. But like March was like you have to apply for housing. And like it's a really big deal at Auburn because freshman housing is like a big deal if you want to get like the quad, and that was something that me and my roommate was like a make or break. And so we had to like apply super early. Like that was really stressful trying to get housing ready. Also with sorority, like you need recommendation letters and like stuff like that's a whole crazy thing. And then you're throwing in like, then you have like your grad party and doing your grad invites. So I'd say like after you get in like September, like pretty chill riding until like March. And then it's like craziness until you move in, and then you're good. But yes, it's like yes and no, because then you're also like applying to scholarships. Yes and no. Pretty much no though. It's still pretty uphill until you move in. The next question I got was my college essentials. We wore uniforms every single day, and so I will say I was not prepared in the clothing category just because, again, I had like nice clothes and I had like t-shirt and shorts, which t-shirt and shorts is what you wear like every day, which is great. Like that's what you absolutely need. You need everyday clothes, like Lululemon, athletic. Like you don't need Lululemon, but I'm just saying that's what a lot of people wear. Just athletic gear. I get a lot of my Lululemon on Poshmark. It's the best place to find it. That's my secret. But another thing that I had to buy first week of school was jean shorts. I love my coffee machine and athletic gear. Those are like my top three. For like dorm essentials, the storage cube that like helps you on the bed, absolutely essential. Love that thing. The desk hutch that like goes over your desk and gives you more storage. That's also a make or break. And a nice rug. We got our rug off Overstock, and honestly it is so cute, but it sheds everywhere. We have to vacuum it all the time. I think we've reached the point where like I think all the shedding's gone, but a nice rug is definitely something to keep in mind. But also didn't want to like spend all of our budget on a rug, so it's balancing the pros and cons. All of my favorite dorm decor is from room 422, and you can use my code Laine for 10% off, which is a great deal. Make sure to check out all of their stuff. I love their storage cube. I have the matching storage cube and headboard from them, and their big pillow. So cute. Also, we customized the big pillow, and I would totally recommend. I absolutely love it. How do you switch to college life and being away from your parents? I thought this was a really good question, but honestly, I was really independent in high school, especially my senior year. So my senior year, we switched to a block schedule, and so on Fridays, I literally had a class at 9:30, and I was done. And so I was literally living the college life. Like, I lived with my parents, but like my parents were at work. Like, I was kind of doing my own thing, and so I kind of got used to that my senior year, and that's something that I'm actually really thankful for. I learned a lot, and I felt like there's really a big season of like not loneliness, but of being alone in the first like month or two of college that I feel like a lot of my friends went through that I honestly didn't, because I went through a lot of that senior year. And it's just learning that being alone doesn't mean that you're lonely. You're filled with like all these people around you, and freshman year is really hard, and the first months are really hard. It's really hard to make friends, and like you're just this is a whole new atmosphere and you're thrown right in the middle of it, but you will get through it and it's so sweet at the end. I would say I was very independent before going to college, so I felt like it wasn't as much of a shock to me. Also, first month in college, if you do join a sorority, which again, I would totally recommend, it also really helps in this way. It keeps you so busy. Like the first month, I was never in my dorm. Like I'm doing things every single night, going from here to there, which I loved. Staying busy keeps your mind off anything else. And I think that is the best remedy for being away from home. It was the best. You're just meeting all these new people. You're having so much fun. And yes, it's really hard, but it's so sweet. And I loved staying busy. Staying busy is definitely the key. This question was, I'm 14. When do I start looking at colleges? It's already stressing me out. Okay, there's no need to stress. Started studying / taking the ACT, which is I feel like the first thing you do, the summer before my junior year. So summer after sophomore year, I started taking the ACT. That's the best time to take it because it's your math. Once you hit a certain math, anything else you learn isn't on the ACT. They take a minimum of 10th grade math, I think. Or at least at my school it was. So I started taking the ACT then, and then took classes and took the ACT all through my junior year. And then you can start touring. The best time to tour is junior year spring break and into junior year summer, and then the fall of your senior year. Because by fall of senior year, you're applying and thinking about for real pros and cons. So that was kind of my journey, what timeline I kind of went on, but it's really different for everyone. But this question kind of piggybacks off that one, is how many schools should I look at? So it really depends. So I wanted a big SEC school in the South, along with some other requirements, and so there was only how many schools are in the SEC? That's only so many. And then I had a time requirement, I didn't want to be too far from home, so then that kind of stretched it down. And then there were some schools that I was just automatically no. And so it's kind of your requirements, and then you can kind of piggyback down from there. The schools you want to apply to, a school that's on your level, a backup, and a reach. So those are three that I would totally, those are your base three that you apply. You can apply to more or less than that, but I've definitely at least try three. I think it's always fun to apply to a reach school, just see if you can get in. I think it's just fun. And honestly, I loved applying to schools because it was so fun getting all the mail. I still have all the mail. These showing up at your door is so fun. Okay, like I said, I'm going to be doing a whole Rush series. I always get so many questions about Rush when I put these on my Instagram story, and I'll be doing a whole series about it. But I got one question that I kind of wanted to clear the air, and it is Rush scary? And that's something that's kind of put out a lot, and I feel a lot of girls that always get discouraged by how scary and how intimidating Rush is. And I would like to say, going through it, it is not scary. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's literally, at the end of the day, it's just you and a girl that is a year older than you, and you're literally just talking to them. So much fun. There's nothing to be afraid about. The only thing is you just have to make sure that you go in with an open mind, and that if they cut you, not to take it personal. It's never anything personal. It's always just trying to make the fit that is best for you. And if it's a sorority that you thought you were gonna love, it always happens for a reason, and everyone always ends up where they should be. So I would do not get discouraged by that. Rush is not scary. Do not let it intimidate you. It's the process for a reason, and the process always works. Okay, coming from in-state, this was a big question I had, and I absolutely love it, and I'm definitely going to answer it. And it is, was it hard from coming in-state to meet new people? And this is totally up to you. I have a lot of friends that will go to schools in state and will stay with friends and will graduate with them. And that was something I was so scared about. I did not want that. And I will say, it is all up to you. You make the decisions. Meeting new people is hard wherever you go. If you were to go out of state, it would be just as hard to make new friends if you're going in state. Coming from having all these friends in Auburn is a big plus It is so nice. Also can't rely on making friends that your friends are making. That was a big thing that I also was afraid of. I was like, I don't want to come in and just be friends with my friends' friends because they made friends. I want to be friends and make my own friends. So yes, it is hard, but it's hard wherever you go. And so I honestly loved making new friends. I love all my new friends. They're so sweet. Like I said, meeting them just through the rush process, through my Pi Chi group. And it's, again, making the effort, being consistent with them, that will really make the difference. It is hard to meet new people. It's hard to meet new people wherever you go, but it's if you're willing to put in the effort to make new friends, that's going to make the difference of making new friends or not. And I would totally recommend, if you're going in-state and you're going to a state school that all of your friends are going to, do not room with your friend. As much as you want to, don't room with your friend and make new friends, and do not make your sorority decision based on what your friends are going. I would really recommend not talking to any of your high school friends when you're going through the sorority recruitment process. If you are, like, you want to catch up on their life and you want to hear what sororities they're liking, but don't let what they're talking about ever influence anything you decide, because where you like the most is where you're meant to end up, and where you're meant to end up is filled with people who are just like you, and those are the people who you're going to meet that you don't know, and that's how you're going to make new friends. What is my major and why did I choose it? So I am a pre-graphic design major. So at Auburn, it's through the architecture school. You have to get into the program. So that means I'm in pre-graphic design right now. But what made me choose it was during quarantine. So first quarantine, when everything shut down, junior year, I started getting into hand lettering and calligraphy on my iPad. And so I started kind of playing around with that. And then I started working with some like local small businesses, making their graphics and making like cards. And then I started doing like graphics and like birthday party theming, and I made t-shirts and started doing all that type of stuff and branding. And then that honestly led me to TikTok. I first originally started with a like graphic design TikTok for my graphic design account. That's how I won the Cook TikTok contest, because I had been obsessed with the Cook skirts and I wanted one so bad, but I had no money, and obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic. I had nowhere to wear it. There was no point in me buying this expensive skirt. So I entered the TikTok contest where you can make a TikTok, but I didn't have anything cooked. So I drew this picture and made this TikTok, and I ended up winning, and it was so awesome. All that to say, now I've kind of had a love for social media and marketing that's kind of come through TikTok, but I chose graphic design because I love creating, very creative. I did AP Art Studio my senior year with a concentration in graphic design, and I loved it. But all that to say, I've really fallen in love with marketing and that kind of stuff, and you can do social media marketing through more of like the marketing business analytical side, or you can do it through graphic design, which is more the creative side. And so that's kind of my plan. That's my dream. I would love to be a graphic designer who does social media marketing and does all that. So a social media marketer who creates all the content. And then the last question I'm going to answer is how to be outgoing. So this one is super hard when you're thrown into the college like life, like everything's going on, and then you're starting to meet all these people, and it's like so easy to be so overwhelmed and just like sneak back in the corner. But an easy way to be outgoing is to just have a conversation with one person and really focus on that conversation with one person. Or if it's two people, I know at Auburn we have swaps, and so they're like 30 minutes, and it's when a sorority and a fraternity just meet for 30 minutes at the frat house, and you literally just talk to them for like 30 minutes. It's like at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like so random. They can be so awkward, like so awkward. But if you just focus on having a conversation with one person, then the next time you're there, you can see that person and be like, oh, hey, like blah, blah, blah. Like, can you introduce me to another one of your friends? And then try to talk to them for a little bit, and like just meeting each person. I'm only after boys, okay? But same thing with girls. Like if you're seeing someone out and about, like really talk to them, get to know them, and then they can introduce you to their friends, get to know one of them, and then they can introduce you to one of their friends. And it's just a whole cycle, and it's a great way to meet new people. And it's not as overwhelming as when you walk into somewhere and be like, oh my gosh, I have to meet all these people. But if you focus on only one, or maybe you have a goal of 3 people one one night. I think that's a great goal, and it's an easy way to meet a lot. You will not realize how many people you meet by only meeting a certain amount of people. But then you know those people, and you can rely on those people, and then you can meet their people, and it just makes, like I said, it's just like I said with roommates, it's just growing your circle bigger and bigger. That's going to be how you make the big school feel so small, and how you're going to truly make your own community wherever you end up. Okay, I hope that was helpful. That's all the questions that I have for today. But if you have any more questions, make sure to put them down below. I'd be so happy to answer them all. Again, my Instagram DMs are always open. You can always ask me anything. I'd love to come to try to come to Auburn. I know a lot of these questions I was answering them from the Auburn standpoint, but again, I do go to Auburn, so that's where I'm kind of coming from. But I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.